following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Sounds 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Welcome in. It's a beautiful Monday afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee. We are getting close to football season, and that is a good thing. Got a good show for you today. Watson Brown will join us in about 15 minutes. Billy Derrick is alongside. Did you have a good weekend?
I did have a good weekend, George. It was very restful, of course, after a busy week. But it was good to kind of relax before the heat of football season starts, especially this Friday night.
Did you watch any preseason football?
I did. I did watch some preseason football, and I was excited to watch some preseason football. But every time I started watching a game and watched more than 2 or 3 plays, I realized it was preseason football.
Bartenders.
Yeah, you were not wrong, George.
A lot of bartenders out there. Okay, so pro football has started, even though some bartenders are playing. High school football kicks off this Friday. The Main Street Media production team has put something together that you'll want to see because, let's face it, we have the reporters, we have the best coverage in town, period. The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're gonna have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. Oh, Friday. Make a note of it. We're on from 4 to 6 with our show. And then from 6 to 11 comes the very best high school football coverage anywhere, period. Okay, let's get to the update. Are we ready?
I'm ready, George. Are you ready?
I think I am.
All right, here we go.
Item number 1.
We've got a lot of topics today. We start with item number 1, of course.
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
Terry is not with us today. No Daily Titans update. He is somewhere between Boston and New York licking his wounds. Way to go, Red Sox. Way to take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Red Sox get it done. That was
really
fun
did.
to watch. That was fun to watch. A lot of the packed house at Fenway, too, every game. But Terry, of course, not happy. George, we go to the Titans, though. So no Terry McCormick, but we do have Titans news. Bud Dupree has pled guilty. Of course, we all remember his situation there. I don't even remember how long ago that was, but definitely sometime before the season, he has pled guilty. and we'll have probation. Is that what I'm hearing?
There's really not a whole lot more to make of it, other than hopefully this is the end of this and we move on to the business of football.
Yeah, it felt like that was in the moment bigger than it ended up being, but obviously that's good news for Dupree to have that figured out.
Item number 2.
Number 2, we go to the San Francisco Chronicle, a guy by the name of Steve Cronin. We've had him on before, but I don't think he wrote about this. But someone at the San Francisco Chronicle is reporting that Jimmy Garoppolo has somewhat disappeared.
Here's what went on. An unnamed coach on the 49ers staff basically said that once Jimmy Garoppolo got off the stage of the press conference at the NFC title game, that he disappeared for weeks. The team tried like all get out to reach him and couldn't. Here's my reaction. What the hell do you care? You don't want him anyway. You're trying to trade him. You've basically told him you are worthless to us. So why do you care? Is that harsh?
No, it's not. I mean, I'm with you.
I mean, this poor guy has proven to be an NFL quarterback of some halfway decent means, and this team doesn't want him. They've been very public about it. I think he has done a very good job of not saying you all can kiss my butt. And so if he disappeared for a while, deal with it.
You called him the fourth string. I mean, allegedly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, I don't understand.
That's a joke.
So Garoppolo.
That got me hot, didn't it?
It did get you hot here early on. We'll see if Garoppolo reappears anywhere. We'll have to keep track of that.
Would we have item number 3?
We do have item number 3, and we go down to college football, down to Baton Rouge. Miles Brennan, LSU quarterback, has left the team. And, of course, he was battling for that spot. He's a 6th-year player. He's been banged up throughout his career. And now he has decided to leave the team after, of course, Jaden Daniels, reportedly has taken control of that job.
Yeah, and I don't think that's any big surprise to anybody. He got enough done at Arizona State to sort of have the credentials to go into the whole fight as the leader in the clubhouse. So the fact that this is the way this is turning out is not a big surprise. Have no idea what Miles Brennan is going to do. My guess is that he had dropped to 3rd and said, screw it, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame the guy. I mean,
I don't either.
It's your 6th. There's not many people out there. It's becoming more and more common, players staying for a 6th year of college football. And especially at the quarterback position, if you're in your 6th year and you're not the starter, feels like there's not really a point.
Then you're not going to be the starter.
No.
I mean, this just did.
Yeah, breaking news. So tough news, tough break for Miles Brennan, but he's decided to just call it quits before the season even starts. George,
item number 4.
Number 4, about halfway through today's update. Princeton basketball coach Pete Carrill.
Yes.
Has died at the age of 92. Hall of Fame Princeton basketball coach.
This is a real loss in the basketball community. Pete Carrill elevated Princeton to places they could have never dreamed. And maybe one of the biggest moments all time in NCAA basketball history. What was it? It was Maryland, Baltimore County.
UMBC.
Yep. Was the 16 that beat Virginia.
Yep.
Okay. In 1989, his Princeton team, a 16 seed, took Hoya Paranoia, Georgetown, to the wire. I remember watching it. 50-49 was the final.
Wow.
Do you know who played in the game on that floor after Princeton and Hoya Paranoia?
Who?
Oh, this is so bad. Do I have to teach you everything?
This is before my time, George.
Oh, you know what? I'm tired of hearing that, because anything before 2000 is before your time, and it just infuriates me.
All right, let's hear it.
Notre Dame and Vandy.
Oh, I was going to say Notre Dame. I didn't know it was Vandy. They played?
Yes.
Wow.
And under C.M. Newton, and they got waxed.
By the Irish?
Yeah.
Were you there?
No. If I remember correctly, I think it was on St. Patrick's Day.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was March 17th.
How about that?
Somebody may tell me otherwise. Anyway, Pete Carrill was a brilliant tactician. Princeton had no business lining up with Georgetown, but that slow, very deliberate backdoor kind of style, as that game went on, you could see Georgetown tighten up, and you could see those Princeton kids loving it.
Yeah, George, that offense, man, when it's clicking, that thing is fun to watch.
It is.
And you don't want to play against a Carrill coach team in the tournament. I mean, it feels like Princeton was always in some battles, especially in that first round of the NCAA tournament. But obviously he will be missed, especially as you mentioned, the basketball community.
With Terry gone, licking his wounds, same story for the child, go Red Sox. We have 6 update items today.
Yeah,
Number 5 is
the Texas Rangers have fired their manager, Chris Woodward. So breaking news out of Texas today. Not sure if that's a big surprise to anyone, but
well, let me say this. Okay, he hasn't exactly been dealt the 27 Yankees hand.
No.
The Rangers spent a lot of money in the offseason. Some people would say way too much for Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. They spent a boatload of money. And the truth of it is the Rangers pitching, while better, is not where it needs to be. And that's his biggest sin, is the fact that the pitching, the hand that he got dealt is just not very good. And they're getting better, but apparently Rangers management thinks they should have gotten better quicker. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, me neither. And with that thing going so downhill the way it is and this quickly, you got to imagine, do they think about bringing up a Jack Leiter? I don't know about Kumar Rocker, but Jack Leiter, you got to imagine, would help that staff a little bit right now.
What's the point?
I mean, it's just
I see it
bring
maybe
some excitement.
Yeah, I see maybe a September call-up.
Yeah.
But look, you don't need to rush him and destroy his confidence.
No. He is pitching well, but I've seen that happen before where you bring a pitcher up and then boom, he loses all confidence.
Listen, that's the big worry you have when you bring one of these guys up. So we have a 6th item.
We do have a 6th item for
the
first time ever on the
We're going to have a 7th.
We're going to have a 7th.
We're going to have a 7th that gets no writing.
No writing.
A plaster note.
Okay. Little plaster note coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's a big one.
The MLB postseason could extend to November the 5th. And, I mean, we talk about Mr. November, of course, Derek Jeter a lot of times, but November 5th, that's late.
I think they should try to see if they can get it extended to Thanksgiving.
You think so?
No. Look, here's what needs to happen. I mean, seriously, Major League Baseball needs to seriously consider going from 162 to about 148. And as they slide back, then the postseason begins earlier. Now, what has to happen for that is that the players and the owners have to agree, okay, that's, let's say in my theory here, 14 less games. Roughly, gosh, I'm trying to do the math. This is not going to work out well. 14 games would be like 1/12 of their season. Are the owners and the players both willing to give up about 8% of their income? Well, you know the answer before you ever start. And that's why it'll never happen.
Yeah, I mean, 162. I don't see them getting higher than that, but also extending to November 5th. I don't know. I don't know if anybody thinks that's ideal.
So here is the update info that has not gotten out there.
George's take.
No, this is fact.
This is an extra note.
The Atlanta Braves have sent out Mike Soroka for his first rehab assignment. It'll be at their single A franchise in Rome, Georgia. Rome, about 45 minutes from Truist Park. This is a pretty important development. Finally, we have some news. Could he have that rehab go maybe to the start of September, come up to the Braves by about September 10th, get about 3 to 4 weeks in the regular season, and then postseason play, baby?
We've been waiting on this.
That's what we're looking for.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, we talked about that right at the beginning of the first week of the show.
Yep.
What's up with Mike Soroka?
Well, we're about to find out.
Yes, we are.
So here's a little bit of what we have on the show today. Titans wide receiver Racey McMath will join us after the break. He had a big catch in the game Thursday night in Baltimore, over 40 yards, and his play during practice has caught a lot of people's attention. He's a former LSU Bengal Tiger. He played on their national title team where Joe Burrow was the quarterback. Then at 5 o'clock today, we'll talk with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. We'll check NFL notes at 5:20, get into Atlanta Braves pitching at 5:40. Tonight, they open maybe the series of the year, a 4-gamer at Truist Park against the New York Mets. And, of course, we'll have stat of the day and the plaster bet of the day as well. A full menu and Watson Brown in the on-deck circle. All of that here on Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
By the way, that commercial you saw a moment ago with Eric Berner, he used to be the PA announcer of the Nashville Sounds, a really good guy. Check out what he's talking about because I can vouch. Good man right there. Speaking of a few good men, let's say hello to Coach Watson Brown, who joins us from up on the plateau. How are you?
I'm good, George. How are you?
Doing good. So how many preseason games did you watch?
Probably most of them.
Did you?
Yeah, that one's on the network.
Yeah,
I didn't catch the ones that weren't on the NFL Network. If it was on the network, I saw part of it. So,
well, we're going to get fairly knee deep into some of this when we get to NFL notes later. Anything stick out that would be your top moment?
My bottom moment was the Cowboys. I mean, geez. I don't know.
What about McCarthy's reaction? They committed 117 penalties in the game against Denver. Truthfully, they committed 17, which is more than any other team. A year ago, this is what plagued them. So this whole BS about, it's a point of emphasis. Yeah, sure it was.
Yeah, well, the emphasis didn't get through. I think they better recalibrate that one because and just physicality. I don't know. It wasn't just the penalties; it was everything. I didn't think they looked good at all.
Yeah, I didn't even like the uniforms.
Well, there's one of them supposed to be wearing white. I thought that was the NFL rule,
right? But what they did, they went with the nasty blue that they wear sometimes on the road. You know, because their jersey is white, they wear that thing virtually every game. They need to stick to that.
They have to wear the blue if somebody tells them to. That's all I know. And so evidently they wanted to. I don't think Denver would have told them to wear the blue because Denver had on orange. So I don't know. I
think it's fair to say that Jerry wanted to wear those.
Well, I'd say it goes through him, yeah. I'd say you're right about that. So, but that was the bad look. I don't know that I just saw a good look because we see so many backups and the thing. I did think 49er quarterback Lance looked pretty good.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that later.
Okay, I thought he looked pretty good compared to Jordan Love. I thought he looked real good. So
poor Jordan. You know, he's got a decision to make. Because by the time he finishes with the 4 years, the only person that will have gotten less playing time is Logan Woodside. I mean, he won't know one thing more about his NFL pro chances than he did when he got drafted.
It goes back to say, why in the world did they draft the young man? I mean, if you thought that Aaron Rodgers' time was up back 4 years ago, you're nuts. I mean, somebody ought to have been fired over that one alone. But
absolutely.
I don't know. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. Okay, let's get a little closer to home. As a lot of you know, the Titans have been making news not only with their preseason game in Baltimore, but one of the people starting to emerge a little bit is a wide receiver, Racey McMath from LSU, played on their national title team with Joe Burrow. And earlier today, I had a chance to sit down with him and talk Titans football. I'm going to start with a question you've been asked a million times. How did you get your first name?
Really, it came from me. Like, I used to kick a lot, when I was in my mother's stomach, and she always related to, it felt like I was just running in her stomach. So her and my father, they came up with the name Races, so.
It stuck.
That's just what it is. Yeah. That's my government, my real name.
Is it really?
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's my name.
Well, you are one of probably few Raceys out there.
I think I'm the only one.
My guess is you are too. Let me take you to your LSU life for a minute before we get to the Titans. I've done a couple of games there, and I believe that Tiger Stadium at night is the very best atmosphere in the country. Talk to me a little bit about that, what that was like, in particular in that championship season.
I say, fan base, they came and showed out every game. They didn't take a game off. And, the energy was just to max capacity, max volume. And the energy was just there. We fed off that energy. We just wanted to show off for the whole state. We know they were watching us, and we just wanted to give them a nice show, and we had the guys to do it.
Racey, I can tell you this: if you're the visiting team, it's a rough tailgate. Man, do they enjoy the pregame?
Man. Oh yeah, I bet they do. Riding through the buses going to the game, I see all the tailgating and stuff going on, and I think it's a nice thing. People get to converse amongst each other, talk and, meet people and, eat good food. So I think that's nice. I never experienced it though, but I know it's a good thing.
Go back sometime when you get a chance. What was the whole national title run like for you? And is there a moment or two that stands out that you'll never forget?
I say really the national title game, when we played Clemson. That was in my home city. That was in our home state. That was in my home city. And it just was a great feeling to be able to win that national championship in New Orleans, It was a great feeling.
Okay, I want to ask you a Joe Burrow question, then we will move on to the Titans. Give me some thoughts on him, Racey, because when he came from Ohio State, nobody was acting like he was what he became. What did you see?
I saw a leader first and a competitive guy. He had his mind on one thing, and that was winning the national championship, and he done it. I seen him put all the work that it took to do it. He brought guys along with him during that process.
When did you get to a point where you said, whoa, this guy not only is the real deal, but he's way better than the pub he's gotten?
Than the what?
Than the pub that he had gotten. Because when he came from Ohio State, nobody was all that wild about him. And then all of a sudden it just took off at LSU.
Yeah, I think we seen it really in the previous year before we won the national title game. Just saw his relentlessness and how resilient he was and how bad he wanted to win. We seen it, and we that following year we got another coach. He really changed the game and just helped us play to our strengths. And Joe did that himself too, and it showed. Put up a lot of points and won every game.
The guy's got poise, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Racey, let's talk your Titan career because it seems like toward the end of last season that it was starting to happen for you in Houston. Through the practice season, it seems like you're getting everybody's attention. Tell me what you think's going on in that process.
Speaking on last year?
Last year and this year, just the fact that it seems like things are really starting to click for you.
Yeah, being in a rookie, playing from O&D. I mean, not O&D, O and special teams. It was just, I admit it was a lot, but coming in the year two, got to stay in the playbook, learn multiple positions. And it just become, more comfortable out there so I could play faster and more instinctive, really. So I think that's what it is. I'm just a more instinctive player, and I know how these plays work and what needs to be done.
And it's obvious your speed is something that this team could really use. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it plays a great factor. I'm one of the fastest guys on the team. However these Titans want me want to use me, I just got to get open for them and make those plays.
Talk to me about this. I hear from people that the speed is the thing that, from college, there's a certain level of speed, and all of a sudden you get to the pros and there's a certain upper level of speed. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, it was, details, communication, everything is turned up a whole notch, and you got to keep up, That's what it is. But, God gave me the talent with great speed. I get to carry that over to the NFL. So, that's good for me. But, college to NFL, great details, fundamentals, everything had to be precise and how it had to be done to execute plays. And that plays a big part.
What's it been like working with Ryan Tannehill?
Well, working with Ryan Tannehill has been great. Communication. It's been awesome on and off the field, meetings after practice, running extra routes with him, really just trying to get on that same page and be where I need to be so he can give me the ball.
Let's end it this way, Racey. In sort of your vision of all this, maybe your dream, kind of tell me what you'd like to have happen out of this second year.
Can you ask me one more time?
Yeah, what in sort of your kind of dream season for you, what would you like to be able to achieve in year 2?
Yeah, I say being a factor on this team and helping us, win a Super Bowl. Really, that's the ultimate goal. I could say, individual stats, but I'm a team guy. I want to expand my role and help this team win games and go deep down to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl.
I got to ask one last thing before I let you out of here. I want to hear an LSU guy tell me how good an Alabama guy is. I've never seen anybody like Derrick Henry. Give me some thoughts on what you've seen.
Man, he's a big, fast guy. That's really one. He's smart. He knows the offense, and you give him the ball. You just block for him, and he'll do the rest. That's all I can say. He's a huge guy, and he carries his weight well.
I don't believe there's anybody better in the NFL at the running back position. Do you feel the same way?
Nah, I don't think that's anyone better than Derrick Henry at the running back position. Nah.
Let him know later.
Prove it in the pudding,
Oh, absolutely. Listen, let him know later that an LSU guy said good things about an Alabama guy.
Okay.
Racey, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
I appreciate it, Josh.
Okay, you take care. Okay, Watson, it seems to me that his speed is going to be a really important thing for them. They need somebody who can stretch a defense.
Yeah, they do, and we've been needing that. So let's hope that he comes through in that way, and he not only can run by you, but he can make plays on the deep ball, because that is not an easy catch, and it's a hard thing to practice. You can't have your quarterback throwing 50 deep balls a day so you can get used to fading on the ball or doing whatever you got to do. That was the hardest thing to rep that I learned in coaching offense and passing game was you better take advantage of your deep stuff in practice and find ways to practice it without killing your quarterback, because it's not an easy thing. And you say, well, let another quarterback throw it. The guy you're going to play with is the one that needs to make those throws. It's a different looking throw when another guy throws it to you. Say, well, put him on a jugs machine. That doesn't come close to the way the ball comes down and floats here or the point there. And so, yes, we've got to come up with a deep threat that makes those plays, George, but by making those plays, getting them off of us a little bit. I go back to the last play of the season last year and how we just get overplayed so much. And we just got to be able to stop that from happening.
Watson, off what you see of him so far, and most of it is the final game of the regular season a year ago against Houston, where he had a big play, and now in the preseason work where he's gotten a lot of pub. What do you like about him?
I liked the route he ran the other night. I mean, it was a nice post corner. It was a real old-timey post corner. He took the guy way inside. The quarterback looked like he was going to roll opposite. He pulls up and throws back to Racey, and it was a really nice route. And then he makes a nice adjustment on the sidelines. The ball was a little late being thrown, and so he makes a nice adjustment on the sideline to catch it, or he would have scored if it had been thrown on time. So I think his route running is getting better. But we've just got to have that speed. I just think they've got to play him. I don't see anybody else that played in the games the other night that's anywhere close to his speed.
Gotcha. Okay, after the break, most of you know it. Tampa Bay is next up on the schedule. Saturday preseason game at Nissan Stadium at 6 o'clock. But way more important are the 2 practice sessions scheduled for Thursday and Friday when the Bucs come to town. After the break, Watson will give you his objectives, what it is he wants to see the Titans accomplish when Tom Brady lets Bucs come to town. I didn't say that very well, but you try it. It's not easy. This is Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
Well, let's see if I can say this right. The Tampa Bay Bucs will be in town this weekend without Tom Brady, or at least that's the report right now. The game is 6 o'clock Saturday night at Nissan Stadium. But I think way more important than that are the 2 practice sessions that'll go on Thursday and Friday. Watson, would you buy that? That practice sessions right now are more important than these games?
100%. Yeah, it's not even close, George. These guys, even when I'd watch this weekend and a starter play, there'd be a few here and there. They're not into it the same way. You get in these practice sessions, that competitive spirit hits, and everybody's watching all of you. And I mean, it's the team sitting there, and I mean, it's hot, and it's, believe me, there'll be some pushing and shoving going on in those 2 days.
Over under on fights is 2.5.
At least. Take it.
Okay, so I asked you earlier today to give me kind of 4 objectives that you have for the Titans to come out of this. And let's take a look at those with our little fancy graphics. Wow. Billy, good stuff.
How about that?
Yes. Number 1 is the Titans' offensive line against a very good Tampa Bay front 7. We're talking defensive line and linebackers. Watson, take it from there.
George, I think it is still the number 1 piece to this team being successful this year, and that's getting back to handing the ball to Derrick, and the next time you see it, it's 2nd and 3. And we've got to get back to that again. And it starts, everybody talks about Derrick Henry. Yes, but you've got to have 5 linemen and a couple of tight ends or a fullback that we'll use every once in a while to get these holes for him to run in. And I didn't see that last year. Even before he really got hurt, I didn't see it. So we've got to get back to a dominant offensive line, because the Vrabel way offensively won't work without a dominant offensive line. This is a very good Tampa Bay front, and they're a crowd you front. So we're going to tell in those 2 days, anybody that's there is going to be able to see if we get any movement against these guys or whatever. And it should be absolutely best on best for 2 days. And I really think it's the number 1 thing. If we come out of that feeling pretty good, we may be on our way again.
Okay, offensive line wise, do you put any stock in anything you saw last Thursday?
Oh, heavens, no. Very few of those were even the ones that are even going to be out there this week. But no, I didn't. The ones that we played, I didn't see much dominance there either. So no, that won't come close to what I'm talking about.
Okay, let's go to item number 2. And to me, this is one of the things that is really difficult, and it's an easy second guess after the fact. Does Derrick Henry go live? Watson, they're not willing to put him in preseason games, which I totally agree with. And so you say, well, we don't want to risk injury in the preseason, but you say you've got to do it in this scenario against Tampa.
I think at least some. He's got to get back and get the feel against a really good player and his line and him together, George. I mean, I don't think they're going to leave him out there 15 plays in a row, but I think if you watch, and in these things they don't tackle, or they're not supposed to. Yeah. This is supposed to be live, as we call it, butt up, where you wrap the guy up and drive him back or whatever.
And then beat the hell out of him.
Up Derrick Henry. So I'd say they might be, they'd still be throwing at those kneecaps of his or whatever. But I would say he gets work in these 2 days. And I would bet Derrick asked for it to get work against these guys in these 2 practices. Let's see. But I'll bet you he gets work.
Hey, who is it that tells these players, don't tackle?
Well, and from the head coach down, it just don't ever work.
No.
I mean, all I would do in preseason every year for 32 years as a head coach is go over there and fuss at some defensive guy. I told you not to tackle. We're not tackling in this period. Yes, sir. And then as soon as I walk away, they slap hands with defensive guys behind it. So it's and George, one of my biggest times I remember is going in and lighting into my defensive coaches. And I'd say, look, guys, I don't want to be the one to go over there and tell them to quit tackling. You're supposed to tell them that. I don't want to be the bad guy. They think I'm an offensive guy all the time anyway. So some of the worst chewings that my coaches got was over this deal right here.
You know what I'm thinking in the background here, Watson, because we would read this every year, and it was always at Dallas's training site in Thousand Oaks, California. The Raiders would come over, and they'd beat the crap out of each other. It looked like a heavyweight title fight. In this corner, Joe Frazier. We have Mr. Muhammad Ali. You were always getting scraps.
Well, and honestly, this type of practice creates it because those defensive guys over there, they want to hit everybody. That's, we've been in shorts and they'll throw passes and they dodge around and run for a score and everybody's slapping hands. And tick the defense off, boy. They can't do anything about it. So when that first day of pads would come, it's their turn in their minds. And they just kind of get short of hearing. But then the offensive guy gets ticked because you're not supposed to be tackling our guy. And before you know it, you got fights everywhere. So the situation itself, George, creates some of the fights.
Okay, let's go to item number 3 as we try to get serious on this. So Ryan Tannehill is coming off a playoff game. God knows we have talked about it enough. But Watson, there's no way that his confidence level can be at 100% right now. Doesn't this have to be an important little test for him?
Yeah, I think for him and the players, I think whether he wants to admit it or not, there are going to be a lot of eyeballs on him and just watching him perform against one of the better defenses in the NFL. It is. And a pressure defense, which is another scary thing. Now, it's a crowd you defense, so a lot of these runs and passes where he gets to check to this or that, he'll get to throw it into more one-on-one situations because this isn't a bend but not break style of defense with the Bucs. They're going to line up and say, you ain't running it. And I think Ryan needs to have a good couple of days, and then he needs to play pretty well in front of the fans again when the game is played. But these 2 days, I think, just seeing him step up and be the leader again, make some plays, brag on his receivers when they go hug one when he makes a great play for him. He needs to stick out as the man again. He had earned that. He's kind of lost that again, and he needs to get it back. And so far in practice, it's just not the same. But when you go against a different color jersey now with a different helmet on and a different mindset, then it's going to stick out again. And I hope Ryan has a nice couple of days.
Watson, if I remember correctly, they did not play him in the preseason last year. I can't swear to that, but that's what I think I remember. Do you play him Saturday night?
I think he plays some Saturday night. Yeah, I do. I think maybe a series, maybe 2. I don't remember that last year, George, so I can't tell you that, but I just think he needs Mike needs to let the fans see him and him have a little success and take a drive down the field and score. And you say it doesn't matter because once you kick it off for real, that's when it matters. But man, it'd be nice to lead up to what did I say to you the other day, George? I firmly believe poise comes from confidence, and he needs some confidence going up into the real deal happening here in a few weeks.
Okay, the fourth and final point. I want all of you to think back in the middle of January in that playoff game. We know about all the bad. Lord knows we have driven it into the ground. The good was the fact that the Titans front 4, front 6, however you want to say it, just beat the daylights out of Cincinnati's offensive line. Joe Burrow got sacked in that game 9 times. Yes, to quote Mrs. Bueller, 9 times. Would you like to do that, Billy?
You couldn't wait for that.
9 times.
9 times.
Mrs. Bueller, he is leading you down the primrose path. I love the way Edward R. Rooney says, leading you.
Leading you.
Thank you. So, Watson, to me, the thing about that game that was so amazing was that Burrow did not crack under that pressure. But we move back to this. Was this a career year out of that front group, or is this something that's going to continue?
Well, I think it's going to continue because it got better as the year went on last year. And when Dupree got healthier and he started making plays, and Landry having the year he had, let's see if he comes back and does it again, bringing Autry in and being a good rundown guy as an end on early downs and then moving him inside to be a pass rusher on passing downs. Man, it all fit together really nice. And I would have even thrown the secondary in with this, but without Brady here, I don't think it's the same. So, but I'm anxious to see the dominance again in this front six, front seven that we play with. Not only in these two practices, but I think you'll start seeing more of these guys show up in game 2. If they're going to show up, they're going to show up in game 2 on the weekend, because the game 3, usually you don't play those guys, if any at all, very little. So I think this would be the week that this is going to stick out for them, these two practices, and then playing the Bucs on the weekend.
Okay, in theory, at least right now, based on what we're being told, Tom Brady will not be coming to Nashville.
No.
It looks like Blaine Gabbert and the former Florida Gator Kyle Trask. Watson, does that take any of the significance out? Do you learn less because of who Tampa's quarterbacks will be?
Well, sure it does. In a confidence way alone. I mean, if you're out there and you're playing well against Tom Brady, you're feeling pretty good. But when it's the backups and you're playing well, yeah, you feel good, but it ain't the same. And so I promise you, Mike is very disappointed that Tom's not going to be here, so he can see his defense react against the GOAT, the best. I mean, he is the best. And so, yeah, it takes away from that part of it. But you can still see the dominance of this defensive front. You can. And are they going to push the Bucs around like they did the Bengals? Do they play the run as well as we did last year? Do we see that come right back? And I just want to see that arrogance that defensive line had at the end of the year, man. That was fun to watch. There was a confidence with that bunch now, and you didn't want to mess with them. And I promise you, Buffalo was glad we got beat, because they didn't want to mess with that defensive front either.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, Watson, you had gone Friday by the time we got to stat of the day.
Yeah,
that's right. Billy, did I not ace that question?
I think you did, George.
Yes. I'm very proud of that.
Without Watson.
I wanted you to know that, Watson.
Well, you ace a lot of them without me. I'm an idiot on most of them.
You're not an idiot. You're just a little challenged.
Oh, my God.
That was awful.
Okay, thank you very much.
That was so easy. Okay.
Easy.
Stat of the day is in the on-deck circle. Stick around, and then after that, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey will join us. This is Main Street Media Television. Tell me a little bit about your company.
So One Stop Realty has been around since 1974. We are your hometown brokerage. It is family owned by me. We have 30 agents that are waiting to help you with all your real estate needs. That counts as residential, commercial, and property management. We also will be getting into the auction business at the end of this month as well. We have listings that range from every price range that you can think of on the real estate market. I know Shelly Tucker has a new listing coming up in Gallatin. Heather Patton has one in Madison right around the corner here. I have one coming up myself. We have everything you need as far as real estate, and we have the expertise to help you out.
Beautiful. Give them a phone number.
Phone numbers for the office is 615-822-0750. You can find us on the web at www.onestoprealty.tn.com.
Thanks for getting involved with us.
George,
really
thank you for
appreciate
having me.
this. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think so.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're gonna have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. Yes, it is time for Stat of the Day. Billy, do you have important readings to take care of?
I do have important readings to take care of, George.
Then read on, my child.
I feel like I'm at Mass on Sunday. Got the first reading here. Stat of the Day is brought to you by John English Vintage Sports and Cards. As we got to pull this screen up, George. Of course, their beautiful logo. They specialize in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. You can visit John English Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee, open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 o'clock and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Visit them online at johnenglishgradedcards.com. And, George, believe it or not, we've got a new sponsor.
My boy, Eric Berner.
An additional sponsor for Stat of the Day. And you can blame me for not getting their logo up in time. But they are Rockcastle Wealth, and that is on the agenda for the old producer.
So you think that'll be there tomorrow?
It will be there tomorrow, but we've got 2 commercials in for him today and a little shout out there. So Rockcastle.
So you're
Wealth,
trying to make up for.
I'm doing my best to make up for it.
Let's see what we got here. What's the question?
Here is the stat of the day. When was the last time that the Seattle Mariners made the postseason? That's a good one.
It is, Watson. They beat the Yankees, and Billy, you stay out of this. Watson and I are going to talk through this. They beat the Yankees when Don Mattingly, in his only playoff appearance, saw Seattle score a run, I want to say in the bottom of the 11th in Game 5, and I think that was 96. But, Watson, I think there was something like 2001 that they made the postseason, and it was a deal where they won a ridiculous number, like 116 regular season games, and didn't go anywhere in the playoffs.
They've only been once, I think, George, since. You're right. And I'm not sure the year. it had to be in the early 2000s. You would know that better than me, but I don't think they've been but one time since they were really good.
I'm going to go 2001. I know I'm close. I'm within a year either way.
Yeah, it was early 2000s.
Here will be the very self-serving part. If I'm right, if I'm close, we're taking credit.
What
oh, look at that, baby. Oh,
days
love it.
Before the creation of the iPod. So that's right around the time the iPod was created.
What's an iPod?
You've got one.
Yes, I know I do. I do.
I think Watson does too.
Yes, I do.
It's so exciting. We have become so technological.
Yeah, aren't we though?
Yeah. So 2001, I'm trying to think. The Kingdom was still around. God rest its soul.
Mm-hmm.
What a dump that place was.
I've heard bad things about it.
Ooh, it's just a big old concrete slab of nothing. Anyway, those are my thoughts about the Kingdom. By the way, this Mariners team, pretty darn fun. And when they got Luis Castillo from Cincinnati, they mean business. Watch them. They're pretty good.
Fun to watch.
They might get in this year. They should. We're taking 46 teams in the playoffs.
And playoffs are running through November 5th.
It looks that way. Hey, Watson, guess where we are at the moment?
Where are we, George?
We're past 5 o'clock.
And?
Well, that means the 5 o'clock hour is upon us.
But yeah, if it's past 5 o'clock, it means I'm not very smart, but I'm smart enough to figure that one out.
Let's see if Billy has more scripture reading.
Got more scripture reading, George. Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint sponsors the 5 o'clock hour. They combine state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Whether it's a sports injury, a sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has the staff, training, and equipment needed to take care of any patient in any circumstance. Their mission is to provide high-quality, specialized orthopedic care in a compassionate manner to the people of Columbia and Middle Tennessee. Visit them online at mtbj.net for more information.
Okay, I will admit that I have not always been Greg Sankey's biggest fan. The SEC commissioner, he has been for the last 4 or 5 years. However, I give the man all the credit in the world at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. For 4 days, he went to virtually every media outlet that asked for him, including us. Billy Derrick sat down with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey joins the show now, live here at SEC Media Days here in Atlanta, the College Football Hall of Fame. Greg, thanks for taking the time. How you doing?
I'm well. It's it's day 4 right now as we speak, so
got to power through.
Yeah, you got to focus on the finish line here.
Yes, sir. After the first 3 days, how impressed have you been with the way your coaches have handled questions, have presented themselves, and have really represented the SEC in the way they have?
They're really pretty consistent in a high level way, and just communicating and addressing issues directly. Brian Kelly started off his first one and was impressive to hear. And you have a very different approach with Mike Leach, who says, "Hey, no opening statement. Let me know what you want to ask me." And where a lot of things were certainly not dull.
No doubt about it. Greg, I want to go to NIL transfer portal. I'm sure you've been asked about it 1,000 times, and so have the coaches. But in today's day and age, as the SEC, what is y'all's approach to these types of issues, and what kind of a mindset are you approaching these with?
On the name, image, and likeness issue, because of the circumstance that has rolled out the introduction of name, image, and likeness on a state-by-state basis based on different state laws, our approach is to tell our institutions, you have to make sure you're following your state law. That's your responsibility. It's not like a decade ago where you'd call up and you'd say, well, what's the NCAA rule? What is the NCAA staff? Or what's the NCAA interpretation? This is about state law. We don't think that's a healthy place to manage this particular concept. We need a national standard for competition so that we can play non-conference games, so we can conduct national championships. And so there is a need to have some change, and that right now results in congressional conversation, exploring the possibility of some type of federal legislation that would enact a national standard. That's enormously uncomfortable, and there's no guarantee it would take place. And if it doesn't, then we'll shift back to state conversations to see if we can create uniformity in the laws, at least among our 11 current states, soon to be 12. We also are dealing with our student athletes who are asking us, what do we really think about name, image, likeness? Like I was asked by a leadership group, what are the ethics around name, image, and likeness? And one is there's supposed to be actual activity taking place. This isn't just payment for nothing or for attendance. This is to be a student athlete lending their name, image, and likeness to a business entity through advertising or appearances or jersey sales, something like that, for which they then receive compensation. That's a simple description of actual name, image, and likeness activity. On the transfer issues, we want to make sure people are fully informed. It is an NCAA rule. We want to make sure that they understand that we don't have to stay where we are on the rules. There's some opportunity for adjustment where we're not going to return to the days of highly, highly restrictive policies that let coaches make decisions for young people rather than young people having the ability to make decisions for themselves.
Greg, every time when you take the podium, I can feel the confidence in your voice, and especially feels like that rubs off on the coaches. It feels like you step to the podium and the coaches have no other option than to be confident in what they say and confident in the conference they're in. So where does that come from you? Why do you have so much confidence in this conference?
Well, I think it goes back to the people I know on campuses. So our leadership at the president chancellor level, athletic director level, the faculty representatives who make a contribution, our coaches, the ability to have personal relationships. So, we have new coaches, and we had COVID, so I didn't get to know coaches, but I have the advantage of coming to know them as people rather than somebody on a sideline or on a TV or on a podium. And the ability to have those relationships kind of informs how I communicate and how I interact with them. I also know with each of them, whether it's coaching a football team or speaking at media days or myself speaking at media days, you're not able to just show up, right, unprepared. And my preparation for this event is weeks in the making to speak for 15 or 20 minutes. And do a lot of thinking when we get into a question and answer session about how do you want to approach an answer, how do you want to listen carefully to a question, and how do you want to conclude an explanation of something to kind of summarize the key points. And there's actually a lot of preparation that goes on that people don't see. In other words, this doesn't just automatically happen, and I don't think it does for our coaches either.
You had to study up on those Netflix recommendations for Coach Leach, huh?
Yeah, well, in that one, I ask our staff to provide me a set of talking points, and they work with the staff from each university so that we know what's going on with the coaches. And what I don't want to do, because we used to do this, it was like their bowl record and their wins and loss record. And so we try to go beyond just to touch who they are as people. I think that's actually important. And what's happened is I've come to know people over time is I know elements. When Kirby was there, I know elements of their life. So I know Kirby. But I also know Mary Beth, his wife, who played women's basketball during her time as a student at Georgia. And I ran a 5K in Indianapolis during championship weekend this year. That's a part of a foundation that raises money for education through the college football playoff. And so you get to share just notes like that. Mike Leach and I, we were talking about neckties and powder wigs behind the curtain. I didn't use that, though. He talked about neckties. So that was his point of liberty. But
I love it.
I think the relational issue, understanding the preparation, and then coming to know them as people is actually one of the rewards of the position.
Greg, I wanted to ask you about conference realignment, and I'll start here in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma and the future of this conference. And obviously, fans are excited about it, but they gotta wait a couple of years, wait a few years here for that. So, as the commissioner of the SEC, why did you make that move, and then how excited are you for those two schools to eventually enter the conference?
Well, both approached us with the idea that they were looking at their future and wanted to make some decisions. And The Big 12 has obviously had actually a pretty high level of transition in its memberships. You've had Colorado, for example, now a member of the Pac-12, Nebraska in the Big 10, Missouri and Texas A&M in 2011, moving in 2012 here. And I think that really forced some thinking and some decision making on the part of Oklahoma and Texas. And then on our part, did we want to grow? If they weren't going to be affiliated with the Big 12 and we're going to go someplace, would we rather have them here or in some other conference affiliation? And ultimately made the decision at the president's level to extend invitations. Those are never easy, and those are never ill-considered. And a lot of questions now about what are we going to do next? And I actually view that as the wrong question. It is, what's the right fit? It's not about numbers. It's about a cultural fit in the Southeastern Conference. It's about the ability for fans to access games. And that's not about any decisions made recently. I mean, that's a big picture conversation because we have this touch and feel ability in this league with baseball, with football, with basketball, with our other sports where fans can travel and be a part of something different. In fact, as we think about football schedule, we want to make sure we rotate our teams through our campuses more frequently. We also think about the philosophy of support for athletics programs. That's enormously important. Can potential members compete at the highest level of Division I? And obviously, Texas and Oklahoma, like other 14 members, have that ability, and that'll really be part of the guiding approach or guiding view as we move forward. And that doesn't predict further expansion, but we're attentive to what's happening around us and want to be able to quickly adapt if it's needed.
With David Cutcliffe yesterday, phenomenal human being, of course, so much experience in the sport of football, and he is now a special assistant to you. Longest job title I've ever seen, but
special advisor to the Commissioner for Football Relations. I think that's the whole unpacking.
Gotcha. Did my best there.
Yeah,
yeah. But we asked him about his role with you in the SEC, and obviously it's different for him. Not being a coach anymore, but he still gets to travel, still gets to be a part of it. And he talked about he feels like how college football might need a voice like his, an experienced, a veteran in the college football business who's been here for a long, long time. So would you agree with that and say, kind of that is his role and kind of providing that guidance for any of these coaches?
His title, so let's start there, special advisor to the Commissioner for Football Relations, and those last two words being really important for me, which is football relations. And we had this idea in mind for about 3 or 4 years. We started a search, had some conversation, then COVID hits, and just creating a new position and having somebody just come in and be on Zoom calls wasn't terribly efficient.
Not ideal.
And we went back and re-engaged right about a year and a half ago, thinking about what would we want. We made some progress in the summer of 2021, thought about some candidates, and then just stopped. What I wanted was somebody who had been in living rooms recruiting, who had been in a locker room after a great win or a disappointing loss, who had to go day after day to practice, who had young people and their families communicating with them, who'd lived the life of a coach. We did that in basketball in 2016 on the men's basketball side. Dan Leibovitz, our associate commissioner, had been a head coach at Hartford. He spent 12 years coaching with John Chaney at Temple. He's been an assistant in the NBA, and our coaches know him, and there's a bond and a trust that's there. David's experience over time as a head coach at the University of Mississippi, then at Duke, an assistant in our league for a number of years, has built up relationships I didn't even understand when I visited with him. And when the change happened at Duke, we were looking at some other candidates, but David rapidly moved up our list of prospects. We reached out. He was interested, and ultimately resulted in his being hired. And so he's learning a position, and I'm learning about him in that position, as are some of our staff. But it's a very different view. We administer football well, but it's a different view from somebody who's lived in the coaching life. What's it like in spring? What's it like around policy issues? What's it like in preseason? And we'll find out what it's like during the season with him on board this year.
Greg, before I let you go, being from Nashville, we're really excited about next year and bringing the SEC Media Days to Nashville. Why did you decide to make that move? And what kind of new ideas might you bring to the Music City next year?
We really enjoy and value our relationship with Nashville. So whether it's the Music City Bowl or basketball tournaments being at Bridgestone Arena, which our men will be there for the next decade, and the environment that's created is really special. And it's not common for conferences to move their media days. So if you look at our colleagues, we've got one in Charlotte, one in Chicago, one in LA, one in Dallas. That's where they are. We were always in Hoover. And so back in 2016, early in my tenure, started thinking about, could we go on the road a little bit? And so we came here in 18. We were going to go to Nashville in 20, and then the pandemic hit. And so our plan is, and we've got some work to do to finalize things in Nashville next year. But we want to allow people, like I talked about earlier, to touch, to feel being a part of this experience with all 14 of our coaches going through Music City.
Okay, that's SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. Watson, let's get to the important issues. When was the last time you saw Mike Leach wear a necktie?
Golly bum. It might go all the way back to Kentucky. I don't know. I promise you he borrowed it if he had one on. He hasn't bought one. I can tell you that. It's somebody else's necktie if Mike's wearing one.
Yeah. Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk David Cutcliffe for just a second. Both of us are biased. We both consider him to be very close friends. To me, I can hear all this job interview process. He's a no-brainer.
Well, I thought he fit everything that Commissioner Sankey said fits David. So as he even went through the criteria, I said, why would you look anywhere else? Because David's done all this and has been a class guy in all the things that he's done. And I don't know. I think that's a perfect fit for both of them. I hope they use him. That's the only thing that I'll say. I hope that they don't just have him somebody to prop up and say, well, we've got this position. Let him use his talents to be a great communicator between the coaches and the commissioner's office, George. And that's what I think he'll do if they'll let him do that.
Because he has terrific people skills and he's an Atlanta Braves fan.
Well, that's good that it was in Atlanta. So, yeah, I mean, he watched the Braves play a little bit too. So,
yeah, no, the problem was the All-Star break. We didn't get to see any of it.
I know where you're trying to go. I won't let you. I just hope they use him. I'm going to keep saying that. It's easy to put the hire in place, but let him walk in that room when there's a little issue and say, here's where the coaches are coming from, and listen to him. Bingo. Don't just push him to the back of the room. Listen to what he says.
We've got to get him on again. That was.
We will get him on again.
That might have been the best interview.
He made it very clear to me that anytime we want, got his phone number. Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. After the break, we'll get to NFL notes from week 1 of preseason. I know you breathlessly await these, and you should. This is Main Street Media Television.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011, or the website, onestoprealtytn.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're gonna have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Hi, this is Melissa Hoisington, Regional Crisis Director from Volunteer Behavioral Health. Disasters can affect everything in your life, including your emotional health. Help is available during these uncertain times. The Tennessee Recovery Project is a free, supportive resource for adults and children who have experienced the effects of natural or human-caused disasters. Specialists are available for counseling by phone or in person. For free, confidential service, please call 833-954-2424. The hotline is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Move forward with the help from the Tennessee Recovery Project.
Okay, it's a moment that all of you have waited for, the award-winning NFL Notes. We've played 1 week of the preseason, and yes, there are bartenders out there playing right now, and they'll mix a Jack and Coke in about 2 weeks. However, there are some big storylines around the NFL right now, and we're going to rumble through a few of these, beginning with Big D. Dallas, 17 penalties, absurd, against Denver. So, Watson, help me with this. What is the disconnect in Dallas between Mike McCarthy's staff and penalties? Because clearly there is something that doesn't jive that Jerry Jones is eventually going to have to figure out.
George, I don't know, because normally when you have an off season to correct something, when you first come out for the first time and be judged again in that way, you take care of that piece. You may not be good at anything else, but you don't have any penalties in your first time out. And they had more than they had at the end of the year. So not a good sign to me. I didn't like the whole night. I didn't like the physicality of the team. Thought they got pushed around on both sides of the ball. Sometimes you get penalties when you're overmatched, so that could be a little scary to me too. I don't know. Let's see where it goes from here. But, man, I just don't know how you can look yourself in the mirror as a coaching staff when that was your top priority in the offseason, and you come right out the gate and have more than you had at the end of the year?
Well, okay, let me ask it this way. You've been a coach, you've been an athletic director, so you hadn't been a team owner, but you've been just about everything but that. You can put some of the fault certainly on the players, but is there some disconnect between McCarthy and that group? I mean, unless he's a complete moron, when they got to training camp, he had to say, guys, we're pretty good, but this has been killing us. And clearly the players aren't listening to that at all.
George, when you get into the discipline aspect of a team, when you get into the toughness aspect of a team, that starts at the top. 100% so. So this is on Mike, and he knows it, and he's got to get it fixed. That's why I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked to watch them play the other night and just do what they've done, but even worse so. Last thing I would have been saying before we left the locker room, guys, our goal in the offseason was, let's go out and fix it tonight. Let's see where we are. I mean, so you can put it on anybody you want, owner, anybody, players. It's on the head coach. That's where this starts. And I would have thought he already had their attention, but he didn't. So now what's he going to do? Let's see what happens in the second one. But I don't know. Very disappointing to me.
Billy,
George,
for the record, if they had been penalized 8 times less in that game, they still would have gotten flagged 9 times.
Can't let it go, kid.
You
just can't let it go.
Look, it's preseason. What do you expect?
You don't need any more number 9s.
You try doing
it.
it.
Billy, I did start this, so I'm going to have to back up. I'm the one that brought it up first, so blame me.
I knew it was coming for both of you when I heard 9 times.
I just beat George to it.
Just waiting to hear in the background, let my Cameron. Yeah, let's move on.
All right, let's get on to number 2.
Oh, you know what? Lighten up. Just deal with it. So Lamar Jackson put it out there over the weekend. He dropped the hammer on the Ravens, who have been putting out a bunch of pablum about, we feel good. We're moving forward. Well, he's basically said, you're not moving forward quick enough. And he announced that once the regular season starts, all of this is over as far as contract negotiations. Now, you may not know this. He represents himself. Now, he may not be the only player in the league that does this, but Watson, there are only about 5 that do. And for the amount of money he's dealing with, this is a dangerous story.
Yeah, it really is. They've got to get it settled. He laid the law down, and so he's basically given them about 3 weeks to fix this. And with him being the negotiator for himself, it shouldn't take as long. The only positive for doing it yourself is I think it can happen quicker. So there's no he said, she said, he's sitting there listening to it. And, it's interesting to see if his head coach is involved in this at all, because if I was the head coach, I wouldn't want to be. Because that now, with it being straight to Lamar you're talking to here, it's not an agent. I would not want a piece of this. But they've got to get this settled. Look, they went with him. They drafted him when? Was it first round, early second? I can't remember where he fell. A lot of people said, well, they're going to make him a receiver. They made him a quarterback. He became their starter quickly. And they changed their whole style of play to Lamar Jackson. 100% changed their whole style to what he does best. So they've laid it out there, George. They can't change now. They've got to get him signed.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to ask this question. The fact that it hasn't happened so far, there's no doubt he's asking for astronomical money because most of the other quarterbacks at that level are getting it. Is it possible that Baltimore is privately saying, we're not that sold on you?
Well, we're going to know in 3 weeks.
Yes, we are.
You're going to know. I don't think so. I think he's asking for a lot of money, and they're just trying to work it out and see how far they're going to go. I don't feel that way. I watched their style of play still. It's still the same stuff with their backups the other night that he does. So I just don't believe that, George. But you're right. We're going to know in 3 weeks. If they don't sign him, they're willing to take their shot. I just don't think it's true.
2 words, Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman.
Oh, Freddie.
Oh, Freddie pops up quite a bit, don't
he? On this show, he does. Out on the West Coast, Trey Lance Friday night played, for me, surprisingly well. Watson, I have not been a big fan of his because I don't think he's that accurate a thrower, but he kind of made me eat my words in limited playing time against the Packers. I came away pretty impressed.
He played well the other night. Again, not a lot of starters out there. It's way too early to bump him up and say he's the man, but I was impressed the other night. Surprised a little bit, is the way I would say it. He played better than I thought he would. He's in the quarterback-friendly offense. There's 5, 6, 7 of those guys that are all Shanahan-ites that have been together through different places they've been, and they all do the same things. And it's the Titan way. The Titans are one of those. I think it was LaFleur that brought this to Nashville, and then he leaves and becomes the head coach of the Packers. We run the same style that fits our quarterbacks. So he's in the quarterback-friendliest offense I think there is in the NFL. The other offense that fits a quarterback, if you can run well, is what they do in Baltimore. But you got to carry the ball so much more, so it's a lot harder on the quarterback that way. But again, he's in the right style of offense to make him a good player.
And then there's JETS. And just about the time you want to get a little bit excited for Gang Green, the bad news happened in preseason game number 1. Zach Wilson has torn the meniscus in his right knee. His availability for the season opener very much in question. So, Watson, they sit there and say, we'll go with Joe Flacco. What I saw a year ago, there's nothing left in his tank.
Poor Jets. I mean, George, they got more rotten luck. I would burn my facility. I would just burn it. There's got to be something in there that's got a black cloud hanging over that place. And I'd just go find me another place if it's a high school for a year. I don't know, but I'd get out of there. They got more stuff happens to them. You talking about throwing up when this happened, and you saw it. If you've been in the business as long as I have, I saw it on the cut. Just as soon as the kid made the cut, I said, he's gone. He's down. It's not as bad as I thought. I figured his ACL, but it's a meniscus, and that's at least 6 weeks. And I mean, probably longer. And a bone bruise on top of it, which adds a couple of weeks to it usually. Gosh, no luck at all. I just, the poor Jets, it's unbelievable to me what they go through.
Okay.
They've got to just be numb to things like this now.
This one had to be the numb of all numbs right here. Jeez.
The best news they get is no news. So let me ask you all this. Should the Jets now be in the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes?
They nearly have to be, don't they? I mean, you don't know how quick he's going to come back, and you don't know how healthy he is when he comes back. So all you got is what we just talked about. As a quarterback, you got to go get something. And yes, I'd get in the Jimmy Garoppolo piece. I would. And he's been in that part of the country with Patriots and been in that league with the Patriots. And so I would get in the mix on Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's either him or Joe Flacco, right?
Flacco. And you know, this kid is a second-year player. It's not like he's loaded with experience and going to walk right back in and be a good player, guys. He needed every rep he could get. That's why he was playing in the first game, trying to get him experience. And just a bad deal.
preseason can be brutal on some guys.
Let me go back on Flacco for just a second. There was a time where he was a very good quarterback, a Super Bowl winning style of quarterback. What I saw a year ago, there's nothing left. That's not going to be a good picture if he has to start opening day. You're going to wonder why the fifth note comes up. Let's flash it up there. So the NFL's Players Association, the president was upset. I saw the game Saturday at Soldier Field, the Bears and the Kansas City Chiefs, and it did look a little ragged. Now, this guy made it sound like it was a swampland. I'm not willing to go that far. But Watson, I do wonder, they had an Elton John concert 8 days ago, and I'm almost wondering if they're doing that on purpose as a punishment, because maybe they have figured out the Bears really are moving to Arlington Park and Soldier Field has no future.
Wow, George, if they're doing that, that is sorry as the dickens. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets. You take a chance on hurting players because you're upset if they're leaving. That would be sorry. And somebody ought to go to jail for that because somebody could have got hurt. And I didn't notice it as bad. I did notice slipping and all that, but I guess I just didn't pay attention on the times. I didn't spend a ton on that game. I did watch some of it, but that's bad, and they've got to fix it. I know this. I've been where we've had to follow concerts before. It is the worst. The second worst is band days, where you have competition for bands, and they're out there all day long on Friday, and then you play on a Saturday or something. But concerts are the worst, and you nearly have to replace the turf when you put a concert down with all the feet that are on the ground and all of the things that you got to put up for the concerts. It just tears it to shreds. So it does not surprise me that the NFLPA president is upset about it, and he should be. You do never want your players put on a field that's not playable. That is a no-no because it don't take but one to ruin his career. And so I'm glad they're doing that. I'm surprised they don't stick up more for a lot of these turfs that are now going down. You know, artificial surfaces with indoor facilities again more turfs are coming back again. And I know that they're building them now with grass in the turf some way, but let's just keep an eye on that because I think that's a good thing for an NFLPA president to get upset about.
Last thought about the field. It looked like my backyard.
Oh, you told me your backyard looked nice.
It did until we stopped getting rain.
Oh, so we don't take care of it. We're
We're
so lazy. We won't even put a sprinkler out there to give it water. I mean, geez, George.
Why don't you
gotta buy a hose and a sprinkler and just turn it on? Fall asleep, do whatever you want to do. Watch your Braves play for 3 hours and go turn it off.
I'm sure Watson's got plenty of sprinklers out there.
As much as I look at all the green around me around here.
I am busy planning the show.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. God bless Billy who plans the show, who does the show. But I mean, just give me and while you're doing that, by the way, turn the sprinkler on.
This is the show, big boy.
Well, it may be. You can turn a sprinkler on as you write your show pieces down.
You know, that is a good
That's bad. You should have never told me that one. That's pure laziness.
Well, fine. Nice knowing you as well.
George would rather wait and just pray for the rain. Just wait for that.
That's
you know
lazy
what?
Pray
When we need your input, we'll ask for it. Let's go to the break on that. Guess what we're going to talk about when we come back?
What are we going to talk about, George? The Braves?
Well, I'm going to tell you because, see, I put the show together.
No doubt. It's got to be the Braves.
Damn right it is. Big series begins tonight with the Mets. And we're going to talk about what went on over the weekend and how Gwinnett helped the defending world champion Atlanta Braves. Stick around. We're not going to talk about my grass but you are watching Main Street Media Television.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. One area I can help with is if you are newly or nearly retired, or maybe have changed jobs and have an old 401k account. You may need more information to help you clearly understand your options. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
Do you love bacon? I mean, do you really love bacon? Who doesn't, right? The 3rd annual Murfreesboro Bacon Fest is coming up Saturday, September 10th. Admission and parking are free. The Bacon Festival will feature live music, food, and craft vendors. And did I say bacon? You can ride a mechanical hog ride. Visit the Kids Zone with free inflatables. There will also be hourly raffles with great prizes and an opportunity to purchase Bacon Festival merchandise. And did I say bacon? Yeah. There will even be a bacon eating contest. Visit the 3rd annual Murfreesboro Bacon Festival Facebook page for all the details.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615 847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links. Some pretty dramatic baseball news that just hit the wire about 5 minutes ago. The Dodgers announcing that former Vanderbilt right-hander Walker Buehler out for the year. Initially, it looked like he might come back this season. This is not good news at all for Walker Buehler, obviously, and not good news for the Dodgers as well. They had hoped to get him back. Now, they have an embarrassment of riches, but still, you hate seeing that. Even if you are a Braves fan and feel like somewhere down the road you might have to play them again, between Buehler's injury and Clayton Kershaw's chronic back stuff, it's the one thing the Dodgers may have to worry about. Now, speaking of the defending world champion Atlanta Braves and Watson, we were speaking about them. They open a 4-game series tonight at home against the Mets. And the young guy, Spencer Strider, who has been a real phenom, might be National League Rookie of the Year, goes against Carlos Carrasco for the Mets. This weekend, the Braves won 4 in a row down in Florida against the Marlins. Now, the Marlins aren't scoring any runs at all, but Atlanta's got some pitching issues. They're trying very hard to limit Spencer Strider's issues. This is a young guy from Clemson who has never pitched anywhere near the kind of innings that they may want him to do if they get to postseason. Kyle Wright suddenly has some arm fatigue. You have Max Fried, who it looks like will start on Thursday, but no guarantees because of concussion problems. And so 3 players who at this moment are on Gwinnett's roster were a huge help over the weekend for Hotlanta GA. Kyle Muller, big 6'7" left-hander out of Texas, 5 innings. You see it, 2 runs, 3 hits. Look at the walks of the 3 pitchers, because that's the key, is they gave the Marlins absolutely nothing. Ian Anderson, who by all means is a big league pitcher, but has really struggled, pitched very well Saturday night in game 2 of the doubleheader, 2 runs, 5 hits in those 6 innings with only 1 walk. And then yesterday, they got a shot in the arm that I'm not sure anybody saw coming. Bryce Elder, who has pitched a couple of times this year against the Sounds in Nashville, 7 innings of 3-hit baseball, 10 strikeouts to go with the 3 walks. And so, Watson, whatever the Braves are going to do, remember those 3 names, because I would contend at least 2 of the 3 are going to have to fit in huge between now and the end of the season.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch. I think this series right here reminds me of the series before the trade deadline last year, or the week before the trade deadline, when the Braves got hot, started winning some games, and I think Alex decided, hey, we're going to go with this. We're going to make our run here. This week will determine the same deal. They'll get in the playoffs and maybe back off, but get in, or they're going to make a run all off of this series this week, in my opinion. And 2-2 won't get it for the Braves. That's a win for the Mets if it goes 2-2. And so they've got to go 3-1 or better, George. So the heat's on. They got to go.
You're absolutely right about one thing. It's got to be 3 out of 4. Billy, I would almost go so far as to say a 2-2 split. And like Watson speculated, I think you back off a little on Spencer Strider. You back off a little bit on Kyle Wright. You call Elder up immediately. I think we'll know by the end of Thursday night where this is headed.
Yeah, I mean, it's go time. Watson just said it. I mean, this is, I hate to say make or break, but you've got to find a way to get at least 2 out of this week. And you mentioned Bryce Elder, George. I think he could be up in Atlanta playing at Truist Park sooner rather than later, because Jake Odorizzi, I mean, we talked about it before the show. He has not been, we didn't expect a ton of things from him, but if Odorizzi keeps pitching the way he is, I would expect Elder to be up sooner rather than later.
No, I'm totally with you on that. Watson, the problem in playing the Mets, and by the way, the shirt today is not in honor of the Mets. It just sort of happened.
It's mine. You talking about yours? You talking about yours?
Mine.
Okay, you got the colors. I don't. I thought you were talking about my blue. That it was. No. This is more Dodger blue than it is.
Y'all together are both rooting on the Mets. It looks like orange and blue.
Whoa.
No,
I don't have any orange on there, Billy. You colorblind, boy?
Combining both of y'all's shirts.
Oh,
combining.
Yeah, George got the orange. You've got the blue.
Why don't you go, water my lawn?
Somebody needs to.
Yes,
somebody needs to. I agree with that.
Somebody does need to. So, Watson, the problem in all this is, as I've talked about before, if you've got Scherzer and DeGrom going, and believe me, they do in this series, the Mets aren't stupid. They put their big guns in here. It's hard to get a big winning streak against this team when you've got to face 2 of, arguably the 3 best starters in the National League in Scherzer and DeGrom. And this is going to be tough.
Well, and it starts. That's why tonight is big.
Yeah.
They've got to win the first one. You lose the first one, and you got those 2 guys staring down the barrel. To win 3 straight out of that, George, they got to win tonight. I hate to say got because I don't like that, but this is time. We many times we say, well, if they don't win in this series, blah. I do think this is the big series. And I think their mindset will be different if they don't win in this series. They'll play to get in, have everybody healthy when the playoffs start. They won't keep fighting them if they lose another game, even leave 5.5 as it is right now.
Yeah.
I guess.
Here's what they've got to hope is that on Thursday night they've got the chance to go for 3 out of 4 and cut it to within 3.5. Anyway, Watson, the big question as we approach the plaster bet of the day, are we taking the defending world champions or not?
You asking me what you're going to say?
Well, it's called a tease.
Well, it's not a tease because there ain't no way you're not taking the world champions. There ain't no way.
If not tonight, one of these games, George is going to be taking the Braves. You can book
give me a break. It may go 4 days in a row.
just a series bet.
Well, let's just find out when we come back. Plaster bet of the day is next on Main Street Media Television.
Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derrick Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 10:45 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Okay. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011, or the website, OneStopRealtyTN.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
Hi, this is Melissa Hoisington, Regional Crisis Director from Volunteer Behavioral Health. Disasters can affect everything in your life, including your emotional health. Help is available during these uncertain times. The Tennessee Recovery Project is a free, supportive resource for adults and children who have experienced the effects of natural or human-caused disasters. Specialists are available for counseling by phone or in person. For free, confidential service, please call 833-954-2424. The hotline is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Move forward with the help from the Tennessee Recovery Project.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It is time now for Plaster's Bet of the Day, powered by Bart Durham Injury Law. Since 1975, Bart Durham Injury Law has aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you, too, have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, at a workplace, or on unsafe property, you should let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham Injury Law by logging on to bartdurham.com. And George, we are ready to review some of your results. You have gotten back to 500 at 12-12.
Oh,
kind of a roller coaster back and forth week last week. You got wins on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, so more wins than losses last week.
So, Watson, this will be my third attempt to get over the 500 mark. And it is time to knock down that door.
Well, let's see it.
And who would I be knocking the door down with? Would it be your defending world champions?
Oh, Watson's ready for the Braves.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
George,
are we going to see?
We are going to see it as I slowly get this pulled back up. I lost it. There we go.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
That's a
orange
shock.
And blue is for the Houston Astros.
You can bang on that trash can, Watson.
Oh, me. You shocked me with that one. I figured your heart would just absolutely win out. You would go with the Braves tonight.
Listen closely. In honor of the Astros. Oh, yeah, the trash can. I'll say this. If the Astros lose and the Braves win, I am going to be hot.
No, you won't.
Oh, I'll be
If the Braves win, you ain't going to be hot. So
you're
don't
right.
worry about it.
Watson, tomorrow, a lot of orange on the show. Tony Basilio will join us at 4:20 to talk University of Tennessee football. And then a good friend of mine, Ball State head football coach Mike New, will join us at 5 o'clock. His team is Tennessee's opener in a couple of weeks at Neyland Stadium. So that's a little of what we have going. Watson, you try to behave until then. if you'd like to come to Nashville and, water my lawn, you're welcome to.
I've got enough to water here, George. Thank you very much. At least somebody does try to take care of their lawn. So
yeah, that's so special.
So special.
Billy,
George,
have a nice night.
You too.
Yes.
I know you got a big event to head over to.
Just remember, right now, I have lost 12 games. If I had lost 3 less, how many would I have lost?
9.
9 times.
9 games.
Nine times.
Knew we were going to get it one more time.
See all of you tomorrow. God bless Ferris Bueller. This is Main Street Media Television.